mighty factories in which, so I'm told, sadness was actually manufactured, packaged and sent all over the world, which never seemed to get enough of it.
Black smoke poured out of the chimneys of the sadness factories and hung over the city like bad news.
Beyond an old dome of ruined buildings that looked like broken hearts, there lived a happy and roaming Haroun, the only child of the storyteller Rashid Khalifa, whose cheerfulness was famous throughout that unhappy metropolis, and whose never-ending string of tall, short, and winding tales earned not one, but two nicknames.
To his admirers, Rashid was the ocean of notions, but to his jealous rivals, he was the Shah of blah.
His wife Soraya, Rashid was a loving husband anyone could wish for, and in these years, leaving from the home, was instead of misery and frown, on his very laughter, and on his sweet voice raised in song.
Then something went wrong. So Roy stopped singing in the middle of the line, as if something had thrown a switch.
Rashid Khalifa was too busy making him and telling stories to notice.
But then Rashid was a busy man and constant demand. He was the ocean of notions, the famous Shah of blah.
Haroun often thought of her father as a juggler, because his stories are really lots of different tales all juggled together, and Rashid kept them going in a sort of dizzy whirl and never made a mistake. Where do all these stories come from?
From the great story sea. Look, I drink the story waters and I feel full steam.
Where do you keep this hot water?
It comes out of an invisible tap installed by one of the water genies.
I've never seen a water genie.
You're never up in time to see the milkman, but you don't mind drinking the milk. You have to be a subscriber.
And how do you become a subscriber?
Oh, that's much too complicated to explain. Just kindly desist while iffing and butting and be happy with the stories you enjoy.
Why don't you have any more children?
We used our full quota of child stuff all on making you. It's all packed in there. Yes, sir. There's more to you than meets the blinking eye.
This child business is not easy. Think of the poor Sengupta.
The Senguptas lived upstairs.
Mr. Sengupta was a clerk at the offices of the city corporation, and he was as sticky thin and whiny voiced and mingy as his wife Amita was generous and loud.
They had no children at all, and as a result, Anita Sengupta paid more attention to her room than she really cared for.
Mr. Sengupta ignored Haroun, but was always talking to Soraya.
That husband of yours, excuse me if I mention, he's got his head in the air and his feet off the ground. What are all these stories? Life is not a storybook or a joke shop. All this fun will come to no good. What is the use of stories if they aren't even true?
What's the use of stories if they aren't even true?
Haroun, can you get the terrible question out of my head?
On the day that everything went wrong, Haroun was on her way home from school. She was caught in the first downpour of the rainy season.
Mrs. Onita was standing on her upstairs balcony, shaking like jelly, and if it hadn't been rain, Haroun might have noticed she was crying.
She went indoors and found Rashid, the storyteller, looking as if he'd stuck his face out the window because his eyes and cheeks were soaking wet, even though his clothes were dry.
Haroun's mother, Soraya, had run off with Mr. Sengupta.
At 11 a.m. precisely, she had told Rashid to go into her room's room to search for some missing stockings. Rashid heard the front door slam, and, in an instant, the sound of a car in the lane.
He returned to the room to find his wife gone and a taxi speeding around the corner.
The clock stood at 11 o'clock exactly.
She picked up a hammer and smashed every clock in the house, including the one on her bedside table.
What did you make my clock for? From this moment, Haroun found she couldn't keep her mind on anything for very long, or, to be precise, for more than 11 minutes at a time.
11 o'clock when her mother exited. That was the problem of 11 minutes. Cause located in her psychology. Owing to sadness, young master stuck fast on her 11 number and could not get to stop.
That's not true.
Soraya had left a note.
You are only interested in pleasure. But a proper man would know that life's a serious business.
Your brain is full of make-believes. There is no room in it for facts.
Mr. Sengupta has no imagination at all. This is okay by me.
Tell Haroun I love her, but I can't help it. I have to do this now.
Oh, what to do, son? Storytelling is the only work I know of.
What's the point of stories if they aren't even true?
wanted to get those words back, to pull them out of her father's ears and to shove them back into her own mouth, but of course she couldn't.
And that was why he blamed himself soon afterwards when an unthinkable thing happened.
It was almost election time, and it was well known that nobody ever believed anything the political said.
But everyone had complete faith in Rashid because he always admitted everything he told them was completely untrue. The politico needed Rashid to help them win people's votes. Rashid's Khalifa was invited to perform by the politico in the town of Keith and the nearby valley of Kay, which is nestled in the mountains of town.
We should go in the town of G, in the valley of K. The air is fine. Whereas here, the air is too weepy for words.
Oh yes, both of you go. It'll be like a little holiday. No need to worry about me sitting here all by myself.
They were met at the railway station in the town of G by two unsmiling women.
They look like villains to me.
The two women drove Rashid straight to the political rally. It arrived in a thick forest of human beings. A crowd of people were crowding out in all directions as they saw Rashid.
Yet the unthinkable thing happened. Rashid went out on stage in front of the vast crowd.
Haroun washed from the wings.
The poor storyteller opened his mouth and
Arg!
found it was empty at his heart.
Arg! Arg! Arg!
The shot blossomed like a steam crowd. The two women accused Rashid of having taken a bribe from their rivals and suggested that they come his son and other items too.
And Rashid, close to tears, kept repeating that he didn't know why he dried up and kept promising he would make it up to them.
Better you are, out comes that tongue from your lying throat.
So when does the plane leave for K?
Plane? Papa stories won't take off if the brat wants to fly. No plane for you, Master decided. Let's leave the blossoms off.
Walls covered in strange warnings.
If you try to rush or zoom, you are sure to meet your doom. All the dangerous overtakers end up safe at undertakers. Look out, slow down, don't be funny. Life is precious. Cars cost money.
Rashid wants to buy a ticket.
You see the funny side. An accident is truly a sad and a cruel thing. But, crash, wins, batoosh, oh, how it makes me giggle and hoot. At your service, my good name is Bud, driver of Super 1 Mail Express coach to the Valley of K.
And my good name is Haroun. If you mean what you say about being of service, there is something you can do.
It was a figure of speech. But, I'll stand by it. A figure of speech is a shifty thing. It can be straight, or it can be twisted. Bus is straight, man, not a twister. So what's your wish, man, mister?
Rashid had often told Haroun about the beauty of the road from the town of G to the valley of K, a road that climbed like a serpent through the pass of H towards the tunnel of I, which is also known as J.
When a road emerges from a tunnel, the traveler sees before him the Valley of K, this golden fields and the silver mountains, and a dull lake at its heart. A view spread out like a magic carpet, waiting for someone to take a ride.
No man could be sad who looked upon that sight, Rashid had said. Front row seats in the mail coach all the way to the dull lake, passing through the tunnel of I, which is also known as J, before sunset.
But, the hour is already late.
Otherwise, the whole point will be lost.
But, so what? The beautiful view to serve the sad dad, no problem.
So when Rashid staggered out of the ticket office, he found Haroun sitting on the front steps of the mail coach, with the best seats reserved inside and the engine running. As I may have mentioned, young Haroun Khalifa, more to you than meets the blinking eye.
Yahoo! Hooray! Don't we need to stop for the letters?
Do we need to go some blinking fast?
Need to stop, need to go quickly. Needs a slippery snake. The girl here says that you, sir, need a view before sunset. Maybe it's so, and maybe no. The girl says that you, sir, need a girl. Maybe it's so, and maybe no. It's been said that Mr. Butt leaves sea, but, maybe that Mr. Butt's heart has a secret sort of thrill. Oh, he's a funny fish. It makes people more truthful. Hurrah, the snow line! Icy patches ahead. Crumbling road surface. Danger of avalanches. Full speed ahead.
Drive like crazy and you will get there.
Be dead slow or be dead.
Here, 2 weeks ago, occurred a major disaster. A bus plunged into the gully. All persons killed. 60, 70 lives minimum. God, too sad. If you desire, I can stop for taking a photograph.
Yes, stop! Please stop!
Oh, too late. It is already far behind. Request must be made more promptly if I'm to comply.
Any minute now, I'm going to be wiped out. Like a word on a chalkboard, one swoosh of the duster and I'll be gone for good. This is it!
Tunnel, one view coming up. Like I said, no problem. When the coach emerged from the tunnel of eye, the travel saw before him the valley of Kay, its golden fields,
Which are really saffron.
and its silver mountains,
Which are really covered in pure white glistening snow.
and the dull lake at its heart.
Which didn't seem dull at all.
Thanks, son. For some time there, I thought we were all done for. Benito, Katamshud.
Katamshud? Wasn't that a story?
Katamshud is the arch enemy of all stories, and even of language itself. He's the prince of silence, and the foe of speech. And at the end of everything, we use his name. Since everything ends, life ends, stories end, dreams end. It's finished. It's over. Katamshud. The end.
This place is doing you good. Your crazy stories are starting to come back.
Esteemed Mr. Rishi, it is an honor. A legend comes to town. The name is Bakudi.
Almost the same as a mail coach driver.
Not the same as any bus driver. Suffering Moses. Do you know to whom you speak? Do I look like the bus driver type? Esteemed Mr. Rishi, you may say.
Waiting for them was a boat in the shape of a swan.
Nothing but the best for distinguished Mr. Rishi. Tonight this came the finest houseboat in the lake. I trust it will not prove too humble for a Grande as exalted as you.
He sounded polite, but he was really being insulting. Why did Rashid put up with this? It seemed to be full of tons of currents, crisscrossing in intricate patterns.
Then the swan boat passes with a little carpet floating on the water surface.
Floating garden. You weave the lotus roots together, and you form a carpet. Then you can grow vegetables right there on the lake.
Don't be sad.
Sad and happy. Surely eminent Mr. Rashid is not satisfied with the arrangements.
Sir, not so. This is an affair of the heart.
Not to worry you, Mr. Rashid. She may have left you, but there are plenty more fish in the sea.
Ah, but you must go a long, long way to find an angelfish.
As if in response to Rashid's words, the weather changed and a mist arrested them from across the water.
Haroun had already smelled unhappiness on the night air, but this mist positively stank of unhappiness and gloom.
Foo! Who made that smell? Come on, admit!
It's a mist. It's a mist of misery.
I need Mr. Rashid. It seems that the girl wants to cover up her stink-making of inventions. I fear she is too much like the people of this valley. Foolish and crazy for make-believe. And that is why I turn to you, a local Mr. Rashid. We'll tell happy stories, and the people will be happy. Vote for me.
It's not in the least all this lake. It's positively temperamental. This must be the Moody Land. It made sense. Rashid was sad, so the mist of misery enveloped the swan boat, and Snooty Batu was so full of hot air, it was no surprise he conjured up this boiling wind.
Moody Land was only a story of war. This is real life. Surely you don't want me to tell just sugar and spice tales. People can delight in the saddest stuff.
Nonsense, nonsense. Terms of your engagement are clear. You want paid and just be happy.
But I must
Okay, everybody listen. This is very important. Just stop talking. Not a word. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Just do one thing for me. Think of the happiest times you can remember. Think of the view of the Valley of K as we came through the Tunnel of I. Think of your wedding day. Please. You see, it wasn't just a story after all.
You're a blinking good person in a tight spot, Clefo. Hats off to you.
The houseboat was called Arabian Nights +1.
Because even in the Arabian Nights, you'll never have a night like this.
The walls were lined with shelves, and they were filled with leather-bound volumes.
But most of these turned out to be fakes.
One shelf, however, bore a set of real books in a language Haroun could not understand, and illustrated with the strangest pictures she had ever seen.
Erudite Mr. Rashid, here for your delectation and edification are the entire volumes of the Ocean of Streams of Story. If you run out of material, you'll find plenty.
Run out? What are you
Touching
saying?
Mr. Rashid, of course we await your recital tomorrow with full confidence.
In the center of the room stood a gigantic peacock.
Haroun had the adjoining room, in which she found an equally outsized turtle, which likewise turned into a bed. It's very pleasant, thank you.
Very pleasant! You're an inappropriate young person. You're about Arabian Nights +1. Very pleasant does not cover it all. Admit that is all, at the very least, super marveloso, incredible, and wholly fantastic.
It is very pleasant indeed. As Haroun has stated, now we will sleep. Good night.
Tomorrow, on the portrait of Mr. Rashid, it is your turn. Let us see how very pleasant your audience finds you.
I'm done. I'm done for good. I'll get on stage and find nothing in my mouth but arcs. They'll slice me to pieces. I'll be finito. The Tom should. Better stop fooling myself. Go into retirement. Cancel my subscription because the magic's gone. Ever since she left. Who's there?
It's me. I couldn't sleep. I think it's the turtle. It's just too weird.
Yeah, I've been having trouble with the peacock myself. The turtle would be better for me. How do you feel about the bird?
Okay.
Put it in, take it out. The fellow comes up here and now I have to come and install. Rush job. Never mind my workload. Then wham bam, he cancels his subscription. And guess who has to come clean up the equipment? Right away, pronto. You think there was a fire. Now where'd I put the blasted thing? Where's it gone? Enough's enough. The party's over. Give it back.
No.
The disconnector. Hand it over. Return to sender. Restore the rightful owner.
Now Haroun noticed that the tool she held was more fluid than solid, held together by an invisible, unbelievable force. You're not getting it back till you tell me what you're doing here. Are you a burglar?
Mission impossible to divulge. Top secret. Classified. Eyes only info. Certainly not to be revealed to any smarty pants girls who snatch what isn't theirs and then accuse other people of being thieves.
I'll wake my father.
No adults. I knew this would be a terrible day.
I'm waiting.
I am If, the water genie, from the ocean of streams of stories.
You're really one of those water genies my father told me about?
Supplier of story water from the great story sea. However, I regret to inform you, this gentleman no longer requires the service. He has discontinued his narrative activities, packed it in. He has canceled his subscription, hence my presence for disconnection, to which end, please return my tool.
How did he send the message? I've been with him the whole time.
By usual means, a P2C2E, a process too complicated to explain.
How does a message get there?
It doesn't. You see, that's the beauty of the scheme.
Why should I believe a word you say?
Anybody can tell stories. Liars, cheats, and crooks, for example. but for stories to have that extra ingredient. For even the best storytellers need story water. Storytelling is like fuel for a car. If you don't have it, it doesn't run.
You made a mistake. My father has not given up. You cannot cancel his subscription.
Orders. All queries are to be taken up with the Grand Comptroller, the Walrus, Gov City Kahani.
The walrus?
You really don't concentrate, do you? At P2C2E House, there are many brilliant persons employed, but there is only one Grand Comptroller. They are the eggheads, he is the Walrus. Got it now? Understood?
But why should I believe a word you say?
Tap the disconnector in the open space. Story tap. Well up.
But I don't get it. Where is this ocean of yours? How does the plumbing work? How does the water get into the tap? Don't tell me. A process too complicated to explain. Mr. If, you must take me to Gup City to see the walrus to get this stupid blunder about my father's story water reverse before it's too late.
Impossible. No can do. Access to the Gup City Kahani from the story shores is strictly restricted. Except for people like me. But you? No way, Jose.
In that case, you're going back without this.
Okay. If we're going, let's go.
You mean now?
Now.
All right, then now.
So pick a bird, any bird.
The only bird here is a painted peacock.
A person may choose what he cannot see. A person may even select a bird, even if it is not present nor correct. A crow, a quail, a hummingbird, a parrot, a kite. A person may even select a flying creature of his own invention. For example, a winged horse, a flying turtle, an airborne whale, an air serpent, an arrow mouse. To give a thing a name, to rescue it from anonymity, to pluck it out of the place of namelessness. Well, that's a way of bringing the said thing into being.
That may be true where you come from, but in these parts...
In these parts, I'm having my time wasted by a disconnected thief who won't believe in what she can't see. Africa, have you seen it? Then is it truly there? The past, did it happen? The future, will it come? Believe in what your eyes see and it will get you into a lot of trouble. So take a look, or should I say, a gander.
Tiny birds are walking on the water candy's palm and pecking at it and flapping their miniature wings to hover just above it. And as well as birds, there are magnificent winged creatures out of legends, such as an Assyrian lion with the head of a bearded man and two large hairy wings growing out of its flanks, tiny monkeys, winged angels, and levitating, and apparently air-breathing fish.
What's your pleasure? Pick, choose.
Haroun pointed at a tiny crescent bird that was giving him a sidelong look through one highly intelligent eye.
So it's the hoopoe for us. You may not know, disconnected thief, that the hoopoe was the bird that led all other birds to their ultimate goal. Well, well, who knows, young thieflet, who you may turn out to be.
You read my mind. How are you doing that?
By P2C2E, a process too complicated to explain.
I give up. Do you have a name?
Whatever name you please. But, I might suggest, for obvious reasons. But?
And off we go.
No bird can fly so fast. Is this a machine?
You may have some objection to machines. But, you have entrusted your life to me. Then am I not worthy a little of your respect?
As the sun rose, Haroun spotted something in the distance, a heavenly body like a large asteroid.
That is Kahani, a moon.
But, surely the Earth has just one moon. How could a second moon have remained undiscovered?
But, it is because of speed. Kahani travels so fast, no Earth instruments are able to detect it. Moon approaching, splashdown in 10 seconds. 9, 8.
Rushing towards them with a sparkling expanse of water.
And water at once.
So many colors such as Haroun could have never had.
And it was warm. Haroun could see steam rising off as that glowed in the sunlight.
3, 2, 1, 0.
there's no Gup City here. And no Gup City equals no P2C2E house, no walrus, no point in being here at all.
This is the deep North Kahani. We are here in search of wish water. Once your wish is granted, you can go home, go back to bed, and go to sleep. End of saga, okay?
Very well.
And hey, presto, wish water ahoy. The harder you wish, the better it works, so it's up to you.
Just one sip. She could regain for her father the lost gift of gab.
Down the hatch.
Haroun began to try to focus her thoughts. Couldn't do it.
If she tried to concentrate on her father's lost storyline powers, and empty storyline subscription, the image of her mother insisted on taking over, and she began to wish for her to her instead.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Just do this one thing for me, daughter. Just this one little thing.
Happy birthday, dear Haroun. Happy birthday to you.
11 minutes, and her concentration goes kabam, kablooey, kabooey.
But, this is disgraceful, eh? Wishes are not such easy things. You were upset, because now we must go to Gup City after all, and there will be harsh words and hot water for you. And you were taking it out all on the girl.
Gup City it is. Unless, of course, you want to handle the disc with extra tools and just call the whole thing off.
But, you are still bullying the girl. Give the girl a happy story to drink.
So he asked the water, he told Haroun about the ocean of the sea of stories. And even though he was full of a sense of hopelessness and depression, the ocean seemed to still have an effect on him.
He looked into the water and saw it made up of 1,000 different kinds, each one a different color. He could get an application of liquid tapestries of brightly shaded complexity, and each color strand represented and contained. As all the stories ever told could be found here, the ocean of the streams of stories was, in fact, the largest library in the universe. And because the stories were in fluid form, they retained the ability to change, join up with other stories, and so become yet other stories.
And so unlike a regular library of books, the ocean of streams of stories isn't dead but alive.
And if you're very, very careful, you can dip a cup into the ocean like so and get water from a single pure stream of story like so. And then you can offer it to a young fellow who's feeling blue so the magic can get his spirits up. Go on now, knock it back.
Haroun found herself in a landscape that looked exactly like a giant chessboard, facing a white stone tower.
At the top of the tower was, what else but, a single window, out of which there gazed, who else but, a captive princess. Haroun is the hero was required to climb up the outside of the tower by clinging onto the cracks in between stones using her bare hands and feet.
Halfway up the tower, Haroun noticed one of her hands beginning to change, losing its human shape, becoming hairy.
Eat, my dearest, you have into a large spider turn. Get away, spider. Go back home.
It's pollution. Someone or something has put filth into the ocean. And when filth gets into the water, the stories go wrong. This could mean war.
War with whom?
With land Chuck on the dark side of Kahani. This looks like the doing of Katam Shud, the cold master of Bezabon.
And who's that?
He's the foe of silence and the prince of hidden. He's the foe of language, even of all stories. His name is Katam Shud. Quick, Lupo, top speed ahead.
Thanks to EdPad's P2C2 events, the rotation of Kahani is now under control. In Gup City, it is always endless sunshine. But over in City of the Chuck, it's always in the middle of the night. And between the two lies the Twilight Strip, in which long ago Guppies built an unbreakable and invisible wall of force. Its good name is Tragedy's Wall, after our king.
You're telling stories again.
Naturally, I'm telling stories.
What's that?
A floating garden, actually.
You mean a floating garden?
So that's all you know.
You've got a stranger with you. Very odd. Still, your own business.
How do you do?
Molly, Florida Gardner, first class.
Who are you?
I'm Haroun. Well, please, what does a floating gardener do?
Maintenance, untwisting twisted story streams, weeding, in short, gardening.
What's this pollution? When did it start? How bad is it?
Lethal. Started only recently, but it spread very rapidly. Certain types of story may take years to clean up. Popular romances have become lists of shopping expeditions. Children's stories also. For instance, there's been an outbreak of creatures with televisions in their stomachs.
All units have been ordered back to base. If I had my disconnector tool, I would have received the order myself.
Hurry, come, Mary. Ocean's End, sure can't wait.
These are Plentimon fish.
So there really are Plentimon fishes in the sea, just like Snitty Batu said.
Yes, Plentimon fishes always goes for two. They're faithful partners for life. To express this perfect union, they speak in rhyme.
All this bad taste, too much dirt.
Swimming in the ocean starts to hurt.
Call me bad, this is goofy.
Excuse our rudeness, we feel droopy.
Things are worse than you've ever known.
And the worst place is down in our old zone.
What's wrong?
The ozone is where the source of stories is located. If the source of stories gets poisoned, what will happen to the ocean? To us all.
Gulf City dead ahead, no problem.
And that is Prince Bolo, fiancé to King Chatterjee's only child, Princess Pachit.
They've stolen her. My Rachid, my princess. The servants of the cult master were going to her some hours back. Churls, dastards, foreigners, hounds. By gum, they will pay for this.
Her whereabouts are not known. She's probably being held in the Citadel of Chuck, the ice palace of Katam Shun Chuck State, at the heart of perpetual night. We have sent messages concerning both the vile poison being injected into the ocean and streams of stories and the recent abduction of Princess Pachit. We demand that they put a stop to the pollution, also within 7 hours, return the abducted lady. Neither demand has been met, and I now must inform you, therefore, that there is now a state of war between the lands of Chuck and Guff.
Extreme urgency is of the essence. If the poisons are not destroyed, they will hurt the entire ocean.
Well, now it's war, young Thieflet. That means nobody at P2C TV Palace has time for your little request. So you might as well just hand over the disconnector tool, and I will call the whole thing off. What could be fairer than that?
No walrus, no disconnector, and that's flat.
Guppy patrols in the outlying areas of the Twilight Strip have arrested a highly suspicious person.
Dad, what are you doing here?
Oh goodness, young Haroun. You surely are the most unexpected of boys.
That's not a spy, that's my father, and there's nothing wrong with him, except he's lost his gift of storytelling.
That's right, go on. Tell them all. Broadcast it to the entire world. Come and sit down.
What do they do to Guppy spies? What do Guppies do to spies?
I don't know. We've never caught a spy before. Maybe we should scold him, or make him stand in the corner, or make him write, "I will not spy 1,001 times."
I wish to travel to the land of Guff, but owing to a slight directional miscalculation, I ended up in the Twilight Strip. In the Twilight Strip, I have seen terrible things and heard worse. There is an encampment there of the Chupwalla army. Such black tents, wrapped in such fanatical silence. In the olden days, the cult master, Katamsha, preached hatred only to stories and fancies and dreams. But now he opposes speech for any reason at all. The land of Chuck has fallen under the mystery of Bezaban, a cult whose followers swear a lifelong vow of silence. Bezaban is a gigantic idol at the heart of Kadamshid's citadel, carved out of black ice. He has no tongue, but grins frightfully, showing teeth the size of houses. Why should I wait near that awful camp? I walked towards the distant light in the horizon and came to Chatterjee's wall. Hers is in bad repair. Movement through the holes is easily achieved. I saw it. I witnessed the kidnapping of Bashik with my own eyes.
Why haven't you told us this sooner? Sounds, proceed for pity's sake.
I was struggling through the thorn bushes when a boat of silver and gold came past. In it was a woman with a circlet of gold, singing, "Please excuse," the most terrible song I have heard in all of my life.
But chief, shall I never hear your sweet, sweet voice, or gaze upon your delicate face again?
She was with her handmaidens. They were giggling about Chatterjee's wall. I want to know what it's like, I heard one say. If the eye can't see it, maybe the tongue can taste it, maybe the finger can feel it. Just then, a troop of harding came through a hole, seized the princess and her handmaidens, and carried them off towards the tent of Chuck.
And what kind of a man are you, that you stayed hidden and did nothing to save us from such a fate?
How dare he?
Princes can get like that. Don't worry, we don't let them do anything important.
Would you rather I, half dead from cold, weep like a romantic fool and got myself captured, or worse, killed? Then who would have brought you the news? Who would have been able to lead you to the tents of Chuck?
You should apologize.
I was too sharp. Truly, we are grateful for your news.
There's one more thing. As they carried the princess off, I heard them say, "The great feast of Bezaban is coming soon. So why not offer this guppy princess as a sacrifice? We'll stitch up her lips and rename her the Dumb Princess, the Princess Kamash."
Now there's not a second to lose. Assemble the armed forces, every page, every chapter, every volume. To war, for Majid!
For Majid and the ocean!
For Majid and the ocean!
Yes, the ocean, naturally. Of course, yes.
If you're going, don't think you can go without me.
Can you find my son in bed for the night?
Blabbermouth.
I'm not tired. Really, I'm not. Blabbermouth led Haroun along corridors, up staircases, down staircases, along more corridors, through doorways, around corners, into courtyards, out of courtyards, onto balconies, and down corridors again.
If my fiancée got herself kidnapped just because she was crazy enough to go into the Twilight Strip, just so she could go gooey over all the stars in the sky and touch the stupid wall for goodness sake, do not imagine that I would start a war to get her back. I would say good riddance, especially with her nose, her teeth, and I have not even mentioned her singing. You would not believe how horrible. And now instead of letting her rot, we all have to go in after her and probably get ourselves killed because we can't see properly in the dark.
Are we getting to my bedroom soon?
And these uniforms. Have you read this?
Bolo and the Golden Fleece.
Whose idea do you think that was? Hers, obviously. But she had all the greatest stories in the world rewritten, as if her Bolo was the hero or something. Bolo and the Magical Lamp, Bolo and the 40 Thieves, Bolo and Juliet, Bolo in Wonderland.
We're lost, aren't we?
So we're a little lost. But aren't we having a nice chat? What did you do that for? And I just spoiled everything.
You're a girl.
Shh. Do you want me to get the sack? Do you know how hard it is for a girl to get a job like this? Don't you know that girls have to fool people every day of their lives if they want to get anywhere?
So you mean just because you're a girl, you can't be a page?
I suppose you always do what you're told to. I suppose you eat up all the food on your plate, even the cauliflower.
I suppose I could do something as simple as showing someone where their bedroom is.
I suppose you always go to bed when you're told to, and you wouldn't be at all interested in going up to the palace roof through this secret passageway right here.
Haroun sat on the flat roof of the palace in what was still, of course, dazzling sunlight and gazed out on the view of the land of God.
The gigantic formal garden with the fountains, leather domes, deep strength, was let down in terraces to the waterbed.
The lagoon, a beautiful expanse of multicolored waters, which beauty flotilla of mechanical birds resembled.
And out across the endangered ocean from the streets of glory.
Haroun realized that even though she was ready to drop his fatigue, she had never felt more alive in her life.
Rise and shine. If you tell anyone about me, next time I will not stop scolding you.
I won't tell, I promise!
You're okay. By the way, I took the liberty of returning that disconnector tool you stole.
I thought you were my friend.
Your father's here himself now. He can take care of his own trouble.
You don't get it. I wanted to do it for him.
For Bajit and the ocean!
For Bajit and the ocean!
Saving the Jeep. What an ocean. What matters is to save the ocean.
It's a wild goose chase to go after Bajit.
Yeah, and she looks like a wild goose too.
That's the plan. Set in motion.
Find such a poison potion.
How dare you! That's our beloved princess we're talking about. Prince Billow's estimable and beauteous bride!
Beauteous? Have you forgotten that voice, that nose, those teeth?
Hey!
What an army. If any soldiers behaved like this on Earth, they'd be court-martialed quick as thinking.
What is the point of giving persons the freedom of speech if you say they must not utilize it to the same? Is the power of speech the most greatest power of all? Then surely it must be exercised to the full.
Are you guys going to noise me? Guys, wait.
Only Prince Bolo remained aloof, saying nothing, looking neither left nor right, his eyes fixed on the far horizon. For him, there was no other. She came first. The issue was beyond dispute.
How could Bolo be so sure when every other guppy seems to take up his mind? Take forever to make up his mind. It is love, which is a wonderful and dashing matter, but which can also be a very foolish thing.
Blink made it slowly, and then more quickly.
They were in the Twilight strip.
The closer they came to the land of Chuck,
The more formidable the prospect of the Chubwalla army became.
The air smelled stale and stench.
All the stillness and cold.
The darkness and silence seemed content to bide their time.
There was a small clearing up ahead, and in this leafless glade was a man who held a sword, whose blade was dark as night.
The man turned and leapt and kicked and slashed his sword constantly, as though battling an invisible opponent.
Then Haroun realized that the man was in fact fighting his own shadow, which in turn was fighting back.
The shadow clearly possessed a will of its own.
still no call, tap, tap, tap.
Eh? What's the fellow saying? Can't make out a single word.
If the people in the land of Chuck hardly talk at all today, it's no surprise he's lost his voice.
Really? Why some people can't speak properly. It beats me.
you please be quiet? He's trying to tell us something.
Murder, stop opening your ear.
I've got it. What a fool I've been. He's been speaking to us fluently the entire time. It's the hand movement. He's been using the language of gesture. What he said wasn't murder, but mudra. It's his name. Mudra. Speak Abahani. That's what he's been saying. Abahani is the most ancient gesture language of all, and I just happen to know it. Hang on. One at a time, please. Mudra is a friend, and this is Lucky, the champion warrior of Chukwala and second in command to the cult master himself, Katamshir.
We really are lucky. Let's seize him. Put him in chains and tell the cult master we'll only release him if we get the chief back safe and sound.
How do you propose to capture?
Please listen. Mudra has become disgusted with the cruelty and fanaticism of the cult of Bezavan. He's broken off all relations with Katamshir. All interpret as Abahani. Don't think that all Chukwalas are in favor of the Bezavan or Katamshir. Most are simply terrified. If we were defeated, they would turn to me. Me and my shadow are both in favor of peace. In short, shadows are the equals of whom they are joined. They often have strong personalities. There can be quarrels, of course. They can pull in opposite directions. Cult Master Katamshir made terrible trouble among shadows. He has become more like a shadow, and a shadow more like a person. He can be in two places at once.
But that's the worst news in the world. It was going to be nearly impossible to defeat him once. And now you're saying we have to defeat him twice?
Precisely so.
Why should we trust this creature? How do we know this isn't some sort of a trap?
Your Highness, I made command here. So hold your tongue or you will be sent back on your way to Cup City and somebody else will have to say your cheat on your behalf. You wouldn't like that, Spots and Bugs, you wouldn't. Will you help us? It isn't going to be easy in the darkness of Chuck. We could do what the fellow with you. What do you say?
Yes, I will help, but there is a decision we must make.
I know what it is. It's the same decision we should have made before we even set out. Who do we save first? The cheat or the ocean? By the way, isn't he something? Isn't he wicked, awesome, sharp? Mudra, I mean.
I know he would. He's okay, I guess.
Okay? Only okay?
There are two Katamshirs. One is in the citadel of Chuck and plans to sew up the princess's lips. The other is in the Old Zone, where he's plotting to ruin the ocean of the streams of story.
A person must come before an ocean, no matter the peril of the pull. What are you people? Have you not blood in your veins? General, and you too, sir. Are you men or shadows?
There's no need to insult shadows any further.
Run it all. Very well. We will send somebody to the Old Zone. Now let me see.
I'll go.
What's that you say?
Why'd you volunteer for such a dangerous job?
All my life, I've heard about the wonderful ocean of stories and the water genies and everything, but I never really believed it until I saw it in my bathroom the other night. And now that I've actually come to Kahani and seen with my own eyes how beautiful the ocean is, with its floating gardeners and Kuntalon fishes, it turns out I may be too late, because the ocean is going to be dead in a minute if we don't do something. I don't like the thought that all the good stories in the world are going to go wrong, forever and ever, or die. Maybe it's not too late for me to do my bit.
There's more to you, Haroun, who meets the blinking eye.
General, is this not the perfect fellow for the job? For he is, like me, a slave to love. Just as my great passion, my reward, leads me towards Pachit, always towards Pachit. So is this woman's destiny, to rescue what she loves. That is, the ocean of stories.
Very well, young Master Haroun. You will be our spy. Take your pick of companions and be gone.
here's a tough old bird. It won't stop me. You can stop a check, you can stop a legal decree, you can stop traffic, but you can't stop me.
What we are here to do is stop the work of the cultmaster, Katam Shud.
It is true that there is a wellspring, a source of stories in the South Pole. Katam Shud will be there, you can be sure of it.
Very well then, to the South Pole.
I feel terrible and she feels worse.
We can hardly speak in verse.
Whatever's doing this can't be far away. You stay here and keep watch. We'll go on without you.
Look, the oldest stories ever made. We let them rot. We abandoned them. Even long before this poisoning. Now look, just look. No color, no life, no nothing. Spoiled.
Surely there's not meant to be any land here. Neglected waters is what it is. Nobody to keep the place in trim. It's a disgrace. Bit of weeding, bit of pest control. Have a channel ready in no time. Lolly, where have you got to?
It's a web of night, a legendary Chapala weapon. The harder you fight, the more it rips. To Katam should we go, all neatly tied up and wrapped like a present.
Honestly, Hoopo, pull yourself together.
How to pull myself together, or anywhere else, when persons, Chapala persons, are pulling me wherever they desire.
That's where they'll be taking us. The blacksmith of Katam Shud.
No, you can't take, you must not take, it's my brain.
Oh, Hoopo, you're the best and bravest there ever was, and I'll get your brain back for you. Just see if I don't.
Here's something, a little courtesy of PTC to E-House. Maybe you'll get a chance to use it.
What is it?
Bite up the end of it, and it gives you 2 minutes of bright, bright light. So for obvious reasons, we call it a Vitalite. Hide it under your tongue.
Melodrama, a water genie from Gup City, and something more unusual, a young fellow, if I'm not mistaken, from down there.
So much for all your silent nonsense. Wouldn't you have known? His followers sew up their lips, but he talks like Billy Q.
Now we shall see about those processes too complicated to explain. Once I have this taken apart, I'll explain those processes, never fear.
I know him. I've seen him somewhere before.
What brought you here, eh? Stories, I suppose. Well, look where stories have landed you now. You would have done better to stick to the facts. Stories bring trouble. Answer me this. What's the use of stories if they aren't even true?
You're him. You were Sengupta, and you stole my mother, and you left your wife behind, and you're nothing but a sniveling, dribbling, measly, weaselly, minty, stingy clerk. Where are you hiding her? Maybe she's a prisoner on this ship. Come on, hand her over.
Haroun, it's not the same guy. Maybe he looks the same, but believe me, that's the cult master of Bezban, Katam Shud.
Stories have warped the girl's brain. Why would I have the slightest interest in your mother? Stories have made you incapable of seeing who stands before you. Stories have made you believe that a personage such as the cult master, Katam Shud, ought to look like this. Showing off. Well, you must see what you came to see, although obviously you won't be able to make your report. Bring them. Blenders. We must make a great many poisons because every story in the ocean needs to be ruined in a different way. To ruin a happy story, you must make it sad. To ruin an action drama, you must make it move too slowly. To ruin a mystery, you must make the criminal's identity obvious to even the most stupid audience. I, personally, have discovered that for every single story in the ocean, there's an anti-story. And if you pour that anti-story into the story, the two cancel each other out and Bingo, end of story. Each day we synthesize and release new poisons. Each day we murder new tales. Soon the ocean will be dry and my victory will be complete.
But why do you hate stories so much? Stories are fun.
The world, however, is not for fun. The world is for controlling.
Which world?
Your world, my world, all worlds. They are all there to be ruled. Inside every single story, every stream in the ocean, there is a story world that I cannot rule at all, and that is the reason why.
Look at the edges here. Don't they look, well, fuzzy? That's what shadows are like. Even if they're sharp, they're never as sharp as real substantial things. This is the Cold Master's shadow. He has sent him here and remains in the citadel of Chuck.
This is where we are building the plug.
What plug? You can't mean...
You will have seen the giant crane up on deck. You will have noted the chains going down into the ocean. On the other end of those chains, Chuckwalla divers are rapidly assembling the biggest, most efficient plug ever constructed. We are going to plug the wellspring itself, the source of stories. While it remains unplugged, fresh, renewing, unpoisoned story bottles will pour out into the ocean. But when it's plugged, then what will there be for you guppies to do but accept the victory of Bezabon?
How do the divers enter the poisoned waters without being hurt?
They wear poison-proof suits. Here, in this closet, are a number of them. And this is our generator.
Molly!
Intruder! Intruder alert!
You can chop a flower bush, you can chop a tree, you can chop liver, but you can't chop me. You can chop and change, you can chop in karate, you can chop suey, but you can't chop me.
The Vitolite!
The deeper Haroun went, the less guilty the story streams were and the easier it was to see. She saw the plug, and then, wonder of wonders, she caught sight of the source itself. The source of stories was a hole in the seabed, and through that hole, the glowing flow of pure, unpolluted story waters came bubbling up from the very heart of Kahani. In that moment, Haroun understood that if she could stop the source from being plugged, everything would eventually be all right again. The renewed story waters would cleanse the polluted waters, and Katamshid's plan would fail. I wish, oh how I wish there was something I could do. That's strange. I'm sure I put Beth the Hoopo's brain box in the pocket on the other side. And then she remembered what was in her pocket. And in a flash, she knew there was something she could do after all. Here goes. You call her Donna, but she's a Donna. That's not right.
Look, a mouse! The piece of toasted cheese will do it.
Hobo, please be quiet.
All fixed up now. What took you so long? Let's go! About room!
Hold your horses, Hoopo. There's something else I have to do. Just stay here and pretend you're still brainless. Wish water. The harder you wish, the better it works. I wish this moon Kahani to turn in such a way that it is no longer half in light and half in darkness. I wish it to turn so that the sun shines down in this dark ship, the full, hot noonday sun.
That's some wish.
Look, Kubo, I did it! I actually did it!
I never doubted you for a moment.
Look what's happening to the ship!
And with a sad, strange sucking sound, the ship of the cult master of Bezabon melted right away.
And the plug, incomplete as it was, fell harmlessly onto the ocean rim, leaving the source of stories entirely unclogged up.
Fresh water would go on pouring out of the source, and so one day the ocean would be clean again. And all the stories, even the oldest ones, would taste as good as new. Full speed ahead!
tell you everything that happened while Haroun was away in the old zone.
Princess Bashi Chatterjee, you will remember, was being held prisoner in the topmost room of the topmost tower in the citadel of Chuck.
Chuck City was in the deep heart of perpetual darkness, and the air was so cold, freezing icicles on people's noses, and hanging there until it was broken off.
For this reason, the Jabals who lived there were those fearful nose warmers that gave them a look of circus clowns, except that the nose warmers were black.
Red nose warmers were issued to the pages of the cup as they marched into the darkness.
This is really beginning to look like a war between buffoons.
Guppy commanders sat down for a light pre-battle dinner in their tents. And while they were eating, a Chupwa ambassador rode up with a white flag of truce.
The High Schoolmaster, Tom Shirley, has granted him special permission without those items. He sends you greetings and informs you that you are all trespassing on the sacred soil of Chuck. We will neither negotiate with you nor give up. Your spying, nosy Parker of a bat chief. And oh, she's noisy too. She torments us with her songs. As for her nose, her teeth.
You needn't go on.
Unless you retreat at once, your invasion will be punished by annihilation. But before you are defeated, I am commanded to entertain you for a moment. I am, if I must immodestly say, the finest juggler in Chuck City, and am commanded to juggle for your delight.
Don't trust him. It's a trick.
Silence, Paige! The rules of chivalry demand no acceptance.
Would you, for Pete's sake, look out? The guy's got a live bomb. I just told you it was a trick.
With this blabbermouth, you're a girl! You're fired!
Bolo, hang it all!
Oh, no, you don't, mister. I quit!
If Prince Bolo no longer has need for such a courageous a page, then perhaps you would care to work for me?
The battle was joined at last.
The Chief Khalifa, watching from the Guppy command hill, was very much afraid that the pages of Gup would be badly beaten, torn, or perhaps burned.
The Guppies were still busily arguing over every little detail.
But the Chippewas were quite unable to resist the Guppies.
All the arguments and debates, all the openness had created power for God and fellowship between them.
Chippewas, on the other hand, were a disunited rabble.
Their habits of secrecy had made them suspicious and distrustful of one another.
They did not stand shoulder to shoulder, but betrayed one another, stabbed one another in the back, unity, hid, deserted, and after the shortest clash imaginable, simply threw down all their weapons and ran away.
The army or library of Gup entered Chop City in triumph.
Chippewa maidens rushed Black-Nose with their icy streaks, and garlanded the red-nosed Guppies with black snowdrops, and kissed them too, and called them the liberators of Chuck.
And now, wafting down to them from the citadel, came a woman's voice singing songs of love.
It was the most horrible voice Rashid Khalifa, the Shah of Blah, had heard in all of his life.
That's so beautiful!
Listen to that. Is that a voice or what is it?
It must be a what is it, because a voice it certainly is not.
At that moment, a miracle had happened.
Grand shift beneath their feet.
The house of top trembled, Chippewas, and Guppies took right under terror.
Prince Bolo fell.
Look at the sky!
The sun was rising over the citadel of Chop City.
It was rising rapidly and went on rising till it was directly overhead, blazing down in full fury of its noonday heat. and there it stayed.
The black ice of that dark fortress received the sunlight like a mortal wound.
The locks on the citadel gates had melted away.
All around the governor, up flights of stairs and into the courtyard, all around him the pillars of the ancient citadel began to buckle and bend.
The shadowy servants of the coalmaster, the members of the Union of the Zinc Lips, were running blindly hither and yon, smashing into walls, knocking one another out as they collided, all laws of silence forgotten in their fear.
And the last, the princess Petite came into sight. Was that nose? Those teeth? There's no need to go into that.
Petite, follow! Petite, follow! Petite, follow! Petite, follow!
High above them at the very apex of the citadel, a gigantic ice statue, a tongueless, grinning, mini-toothed Bazaban began to totter and shake. Then drunkenly it fell.
But look, an unimpressive little figure had come scurrying out.
A skinny, scrawny, sniveling, dribbling, dingy, stingy, weaselly clerkish sort of fellow, who had no shadow at all, but seemed almost as much a shadow as a man.
It was the cult master, Cut Tom Should, running for his life.
He heard Rashid's cry too late, whirled around with a fiendish yell, and saw the huge head of the Colossus of Bezaban as it arrived, hitting him squarely on the nose.
Not a shred of him was ever seen again.
The new government of the land of Chuck, headed by Rudra, he asked the desire for a long and lasting peace. Peace in which night and day, speech and silence, would no longer be divided into zones by Twilight, long before.
Rudra invited Miss Blabbermouth to come and stay with him, and act as go-between for the Guppy authorities and those of the land of Chuck. Miss Blabbermouth accepted gladly.
Haroun was reunited with Rashid, who was given back his Storywater facilities and awarded the Land of Gup's highest honor, the Order of the Open Mouth, for his exceptional services during the war.
If was named Chief Water Genie, Mally Head Floating Gardener, and Goopy and Baga, leader of all the Plentama fish in the sea.
But the Hoopa was quickly restored to her normal self, just as soon as the Gup service station fitted her with a square brain. And Princess Bachi?
On the day of her wedding to Prince Bull, the two of them looked so happy and so much in love. Everybody forgot how idiotic she had been to get herself captured in the first place, and many of Bull's foolish behaviors that followed.
A great victory has been won for the ocean, but also for the new openness and friendship between the lands of Chuck and Gup over our old hostility and suspicion. A dialogue has been opened, and to celebrate that, along with this great wedding, let all the people sing!
But she kept her mouth shut, and everybody was as happy as could be.
You are to attend at once the P2C2E house. The waters want to talk to the person who destroyed so much irreplaceable machinery.
But it was for a good cause.
I don't know about that.
The Grand Comptroller of Processes Too Complicated to Explain. I am the Morris Esquire. Knock and wait.
Come in.
Am I in trouble or not?
Please forgive us. We were just pulling your leg. Just a little yoke. Little yoke?
Then what's all this about?
Haroun Khalifa, we have come to honor you for your incalculable service to Kahani in the oceans of the streams of stories. We grant you the right to ask us of any wish, and we promise to fulfill it if we possibly can.
It's no use asking because what I really want, no one here can give me.
Nonsense. I know perfectly well what you want. You've been on a great adventure, and at the end of all great adventures, we all want the same thing.
Oh? What's that?
A happy ending. Happy endings are much rarer in stories and also in life. That's why we at P2C2E House have learned to synthesize them artificially. In plain language, we can make them up.
That's impossible. They aren't things you can put in bottles.
If Katam Shud can synthesize anti-stories, what makes you think that we can't synthesize things too? And as for impossible, most people would say that everything you've been through lately is quite impossible.
Well, you said it could be a big wish, so it is. I come from a sad city, the saddest of cities, a city so sad it's forgotten its own name. I want you to provide a happy ending, not just for my adventure, but for the whole sad city as well.
Happy endings must come at the end of stories and adventures. If they come in the middle, all they do is cheer things up for a while.
That'll do.
It was time to go home.
It was still raining cats and dogs when they returned to the sad city.
Who cares? I haven't had a good splashing in a while. Looks like the sad city finally wants to have fun.
But why? Nothing's really changed, has it? The sadness factories are still in production.
We've been out of town for a while. Has anything happened? For example, a miracle?
It's just the rain. It's making everyone happy.
It's the walrus. He's making my wish come true. It's all fake. People should be happy when there's something to be happy about.
I'll tell you something to be happy about. Remember the city's name. It's Kalani. Isn't that a beautiful name for a city? It means story, you know.
Haroun found her father's cheerfulness simply unbearable, and she blamed the walrus for all of it, and for everything fake in the whole wide world.
Oh, so far you have returned. What sweets and celebration you will have.
But what is there to celebrate?
Well, to speak personally, I have said good riddance to Mr. Sigmund. I also have a chocolate factory where there's many chocolates that I require free of sugar. Also, I have several reminders. But listen to me, talking like this. How shaky this is.
I'm happy for you, I really am. But in our life, it is not all songs and dances.
Maybe you've been away too long. Things change.
Is this the work of the walrus too?
What walrus? I don't know any walrus, but I do know that I made a mistake. I went. I don't deny it. I went. But now, if you want, then I am back.
Well,
That's a Gupta, I swear. What a skinny, scrawny, sniveling, dribbling, stingy, measly clerk. As far as I'm concerned, your spinach is done, gone for good.
Katam should.
That's right, I promise. Mr. Singh just catch up to.
welcome home.
Come inside. There's a little town with brain a person can enjoy.
Cousins, what's all this?
Don't you remember? It was your birthday.
Yes, time does seem to be on the move again around these parts.
Outside,